Jerry, we appreciate you coming all the way out. Definitely don't have to wait for this, just not even your area, the park stuff, so.
No worries.
Appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate it. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's now 6 o'clock. I'll call a special meeting on Tuesday, October 20th to order. You'll rise and listen to the invocation of the Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you've given us. Thank you for the many blessings you give us all. Be with our community and our country and the world right now, Lord. Keep everyone safe and protect and heal. Lead, guide us, and direct us, and forgive us where we fail you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. At this time, Janine, do we have anybody with public comment?
No, sir.
Next, we will consider and approve the minutes of the September 22nd meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting.
Second. Motion's been made by Kenny, seconded by Michael, that we approve the minutes from the September 22nd meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve an interlocal government cooperation contract for administrative services from SPAG on the Texas Parks and Wildlife construction of the parks.
Mayor, I'd ask that we take no action on this at this time. A lot of things are still up in the air with the Parks and Wildlife. I'll touch on those a little more on the next agenda, but I ask that we take no action on this, and we plan to put this on the next agenda.
Anybody have any questions about that?
I have a question about the actual project itself. What is the purpose of this if we've already gotten the grant from the state, or do we not have the grant already?
The first agreement we did with SPAG was to apply to the Parks and Wildlife. And this one would be to administer the grant. And that is a very technical thing that grant actually pays for if you get it. And at this point right now, I think that we need to just take no action on this and maybe take it up at a later date if it looks like we can, that we can use the grant.
Is this for the $750,000 grant or not?
This is for the Parks and Wildlife $750,000 grant.
Okay.
To administer it.
To administer it.
Yeah, and you can't.
Well, we don't know if we're
It doesn't
getting
make
it
a lot of
yet.
sense because we know what it's going to be going to and how it's going to be administered. So is that something that you could do as a city manager?
Absolutely not. This takes a lot of training and a lot of certifications that these people have to go through to do this thing. And the grant pays for it if you get the grant.
It takes
So
very long.
The downside of just one little small error on this thing is really bad on administration of these grants. And it's just not something that anybody would want to take on. It's not a trained grant administrator like these guys go through.
Now, will SPAG take responsibility if they screw up something on the grant and we lose it?
Well, that's part of the agreement is that they do everything that they can. And they've always administered our grants for us on different projects, and so far, any little thing that the state picks out that's a problem, they've worked on it till it's straightened out and completed. And frankly, I think my time's spent a lot better, working on different projects going forward instead of doing 30-page reports to the state for no particular reason.
So we'll wait on that till a future agenda. Next, we'll consider an approved proposal for aquatic center construction and authorize execution of contract.
In my memo to you, kind of explained where we're at on things. The bond has been funded, money is in the bank, ready for construction, and we've been working vigorously with Dan Reese with the Texas Parks and Wildlife, and he's very familiar with what we're trying to do and everything. And just kind of recap, back in April, we made a decision to go forward with this thing, not thinking that we would get the grant money, and then once we're to the point of being shovel ready, the state decides to go ahead and meet 3 months before they even talked about meeting and authorized the $750,000 for us to do the project. Kind of backing up a little beyond that, this advertisement was sent out for proposals. This RFP process, there's a 45-day limit on accepting a proposal, and anything past that, we can't guarantee the price. And part of what we've worked with the bond is the plan to lock in the price before the 45-day period is finished. And we've pushed that time a little bit in order to try to get some for sure waiver or something from the federal government on this grant. And sorry for jumping around, but this year, this Parks and Wildlife money was short. So the state went to the federal Department of Interior, National Park Service, and asked for some money to do some more projects. So when you do that, all of a sudden you introduce all of the federal levels of approval. And so it has to have a contract approved by the federal government. And we found out not too long ago that they don't plan to approve a contract until April. And so that kind of throws us into a decision: do we go forward, or do we wait for approval from the state for the contract? And so we've been working through Dan Reese with the state. He has contacts with the National Park Service, and he's talked to them on several occasions. In the last conference, he finished up and gave me a call probably about 30 minutes ago. And what it all kind of boils down to is there are some hard and fast requirements that the state has regarding different approvals, and one of them is the tribal committee approval, and they don't plan to meet until the end of the year. And I think that's kind of nonsense, because Littlefield and this whole area really doesn't have any kind of Native American buildings or sites or burial grounds or anything like that, especially right here in Littlefield. So never has been an issue on different grants that we've worked on. But long story short, when we proceed with this thing, if you accept a proposal, we can delay a little longer and before a contract is signed, and maybe buy a little more time. We haven't asked our congressman to go to bat for us on this yet, and the reason being we wanted to work through channels first. But after talking to Dan Reese this afternoon, I feel it's time, and Dan agrees, that we need to go ahead and call our Arrington and ask him to go to bat for us on this thing.
And Arrington's office is caught up on the issue. They're just waiting to be told go, right?
Yeah.
Casey, you've been talking.
And I mean, I'd love to be able to say, yeah, we've still got a pretty good chance of getting the grant money if we go forward now, but I can't. I mean, it's a slim chance of still being able to use the grant. And it's complete nonsense that there's any delay after the state has approved this. Why, I don't understand why the federal government is delaying starting this, because they're wanting to see things get started and get moving again. And so it doesn't make sense to me that they would slow us up over something like that. But when you're dealing with the federal government, a lot of things don't make sense to me. So what my recommendation is that we go ahead and accept the proposal from the highest ranking bidder, and you authorize the mayor to execute the contract with alternates 1, 4, and 5. Those are the ones that we've been talking about all along. Base bid, and then alternate 1 is the second slide, and alternate 4 and 5 are some play features to go in the zero entry area. We only have 45 days to accept that, and we're only about 3 days from that date. So if we're going to lock in that price, and we need to take action tonight to accept the proposal and then authorize the mayor to execute the contract when that is developed. The contract usually is about 2 inches thick, 1.5 inches. And it's based on the AIA forms and stuff, and that will be developed shortly and ready for signature. There are some things we can slow play this a little bit to buy some more time to maybe get a waiver. Bottom line is before you stick a shovel in the ground and start construction, the pretty hard and fast rule is that you have to have a contract signed by the state, and in this case, the state and federal folks. Answer any questions you got.
Page 28, it's probably negligible. Says deck equipment, including lifeguard chairs, life-saving equipment, and cleaning equipment shall be provided by owner. Also, landscape irrigation and planting shall be provided by owner. Do we have a cost for that one, what that would be for us? Because that's going to be an additional, over the amount of the construction, obviously.
Now this did include a lot of the startup, like the lifeguard chairs and stuff. I mean, that, I think I've got that kind of allowed for in the budget. I'm showing them about a $30,000 difference between our startup costs and revenue this year, which I think is very, very conservative. And long story short, no, we didn't have a lot of landscaping or anything on this project in the design. I really think probably we should stick with like maybe some artificial turf or something in the grassy areas, but no, this is not really developing any of the park area besides there'll be a pond back there, retention pond, that will be, part of a bigger park project.
Well, I guess I'm just bringing that up just because.
No, that's
once the
a very
project's
good
complete
question.
and you get out there and go, oh, we don't have any deck equipment, lifeguard chairs, life-saving equipment, and cleaning.
Yeah.
Make sure that we know about that prior to the actual completion of the project.
Definitely a cost, but I think I've got some of
heaters
that.
in there.
No, we don't need pool heaters. Those are
Because
just.
it's a summertime pool.
Yeah, I need pool heaters, so they're just something we don't need.
So where would we get the money for those items?
I think I've got that pretty much covered in the startup cost in the budget this year. I have to go back and look, but I think we had some costs there, and we could pay for it out of the remaining money in the park fund. I mean, that's all dedicated to this anyway, and we'll have quite a bit of money in there left to do some stuff where we need to do.
And with this grant, if we are successful with that, we can definitely use it for some of the activities, correct?
Oh yeah, that grant money would definitely just replace a lot of the money, from the construction. And, we would have that to either pay off early payment on the bond or to do some other stuff along with the aquatic park.
I guess what I'm saying, as it stands right now, where we're at, we're not gonna have to come up with any additional money from the time we start this to the time we finish it.
No, we did build in a little bit of a contingency. I hate contingencies, but it never fails. You get through there about 3/4 wings, say, hey, I don't know if it is, but we've got, I think, plenty of money in there to handle some kind of small change if we need to. And plus, in this project, I don't have the sewer line, and that could cost $40,000-$50,000 for that sewer line.
Also on page 28, it says we're omitting some fence deals. Are we gonna have a fence?
I see, which one are you looking at on the
Page 28, section 2 there.
2B?
Privacy fence?
This is omit wooden privacy fence from the project.
Yeah, I think they switched to a black chain link around the outside on it. I think the original plan showed a wrought iron, and then they changed that to a
Cheaper looking fence.
without the details in front of me. I think it was just a little section of wood fence that we didn't need, and then went to covered chain link, it's black chain link around the back of the pool. I mean, to me, that's just a waste to put a really expensive decorative wrought iron fence. Plus, they tend to bend, people get through and stuff, and these chain link fences are a lot more secure.
Would you know if that chain link fence or whatever would have some, like those, plastic slats that go down in there to kind of help with the wind and things? And
We could do that with the, the privacy slats and stuff through there, but I don't know. I mean, we just have to look at it and see what we want to do on it. A lot of people just like the kind of a wide open view there. And, we may want to think about it too with the sand and stuff, because we will get a little sand blowing off the field next to it.
We're gonna plant some trees around that, west side of that parking lot.
The general plan, the general plan is to develop that park back there with some grass and trees and stuff. Make it, put a little trail around there. None of it really expensive, just a matter of bringing some reclaimed asphalt and stuff for a walking trail. I mean, that's kind of the general stuff we talked about in this park.
Well, I spoke to Marty Mangum earlier today about this Atlantis Aquatic Group. That's the one who did it down at Vernon, down city manager at Vernon. He said that the quality has been really good and they haven't had any problems. The only thing they're having to do this year, or maybe this fall, is re-glaze the slides. So after about 5 years, they tend to wear out.
How about one?
Was it one?
The slides are fiberglass.
Yeah.
And
He didn't say it was
it's
every
just-
year.
oh, well, see, I built that pool.
Yeah.
And I remember about a year after you really gotta go in and wax those things once a year.
Oh.
And it really makes it a lot better. But if you go too long, you're gonna have to go in and you're gonna have to compound them and wax
Well,
them.
apparently he's gone too far. He's having to re-laminate it.
Oh, really?
Re-glaze it. So, it's kind of doing some separation and stuff. You don't want that happening with fiberglass, obviously.
Well, there we were building on a shoestring. We built it and it
Now,
was.
are those covered by, the slides themselves, are they covered by something, or are they out in the sunshine?
Those slides are wide open.
Yeah, I noticed on something I read here, they recommended putting a cover over it. all over the slides.
Yeah, there was an option, and you could choose that if you wanted. It's only $3,000, but it was a cloth cover over the top of the slide, because there's kind of a waiting area up there, and sometimes people, crowd
But that
might
wasn't over the
gather
full
up
entire
there.
slide itself. You're just talking about up at the.
Just a little cover at the top, it's like 3,000. I mean, that's an option, you can do it, it's not the big deal. We could add it, I mean, those slides are like, it's like anything red or orange tends to get beat up by the sun really bad. And that's kind of probably what we're looking at. But on this, we purposely kind of try to stay away from the maroon and stuff. I mean, it would be great because of Littlefield, but maroon, man, it just fades and it's rough. Like painting maroon on a sign or something. You'll notice
It's burned
it's
off.
gone in no time.
Burn
Yeah.
it sometimes. It feels strange.
All right, roof and what you say, I mean, how old is that pool over there right
Well,
now?
the building,
Oh.
I like what it,
Built 12.
12.
Mhm. 12 took about it's been about a year when it built it, or a little less than a
I
year.
wasn't sure when it was going to be, I thought it was around.
And then they also built one in Ocean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
So how's the mule shed? Have y'all been up to the mule shed and looked at it? Did they say they had any issue with maintenance or anything like that?
No, they said the only thing they had to do, they have one outdoor faucet that they had put out there to like a little shower to rinse off, and it had froze, and they said they don't recommend putting that outside.
They told me don't put grass in there too.
And no
'cause
grass
You gotta
inside.
get a lot more in and it blows in the pool. Just
I
use
like to do artificial turf.
That might be good, yeah.
You know, that might be something to consider.
I saw a little deal in Tulsa, it's actually the shopping center, they had a soccer field, artificial turf in the middle of the shopping center. The kids played soccer out there.
I got some of this leftover stuff from the football field.
Well,
I've seen rolls of it around
Yeah.
town.
I've seen
Yeah,
one
you
down the
know,
street. I think we could
they're
put
minus
it
for that.
Well,
We may be coming up with some extra of that too. so.
Yeah.
Don't tell them, Michael, we may step over
We
there.
need to get it rolled up.
Well, they're gonna redo that.
Yeah, we gotta redo that.
They're gonna redo it again.
What?
They gotta do the field again, don't they?
Yeah, they messed it up.
We need to take some of that for the pool.
Yeah.
If we can,
If you can get it, sure.
Well,
Get it cheap.
hopefully, y'all make good investment hiring me to do this because I've done this before. So I know a lot of the pitfalls, so hopefully we can, I'm not saying we won't screw up somewhere, but I mean, at least some of the obvious stuff I can maybe sidestep. The design and then the operation of it.
Entertain a motion to approve the Aquatic Center contract.
And if you do, go ahead and point out alternates 1, 4, and 5 were the ones that you basically.
well, I'll make a motion that we approve the bid of the Atlantis bid for the Aquatic Center along with the approval of alternates 1, 4, and 5 for the Aquatic Center.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve those construction bids with alternates 1, 4, and 5.
And is that to authorize the mayor to execute contract?
And also, yeah, we need to authorize the mayor
Sign.
to sign a contract with said company.
You good with that addition, Michael?
Yes.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the construction contracts with bids 1, 4, and 5 and authorize the mayor to execute the contract. Is there any further discussion? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, really talk to us still about it.